Hi, everyone. Welcome to the 90th Percentile. I'm Laura Serino, Director of Content and Community at Postscript, and we have a ton to cover today, and I'm thrilled that we have the brains behind the SMS strategy of MaryRuth's with us here. So if you're among the few unfamiliar with this brand, MaryRuth's is a top vitamin and supplements company that's women-owned, founder-led, and besides being a Shopify store, you can find their products at the biggest retailers in the world, like Target, Vitamin Shop, Whole Foods, Walmart. The list goes on and on. So today we're going to be talking about how to be a top performer around some of the key metrics we look at when we put together our annual SMS benchmarks report. So, if you're unfamiliar with our benchmarks report, we analyze data from over 18,000 Shopify stores that are on Postscript, and we look at key metrics like acquisition rate, revenue per message, messages per subscriber, retention rate. But we also dive pretty deep into every message type there is and look at averages for EPM, CTR, for everything from campaigns and abandoned carts to pop ups and welcome series. So we will actually toss a link to the benchmarks report in the chat. So if you haven't looked at it before, you can bookmark it and take a look after we wrap this up. And we'll also make sure to include it in the recap emails that go out after this. So while these benchmarks are a great tool to use to set some goals and look at where you rank in your industry, we realized a big piece of the puzzle around benchmarks was missing, which was what strategies do I do to improve in these areas? And that's where MaryRuth's comes in. So for brands like MaryRuth's, they're in the 90th percentile in basically every area. So without further ado, I'm going to welcome Kat Leva, Director of Retention and Social Commerce at MaryRuth's, and Monica Boretsky, CRM Manager at MaryRuth's, to the stage. Before we dive right in, Kat, can you give everyone here that's watching a little bit about the MaryRuth's brand story and how MaryRuth's came to be?
Yeah, no, thank you, Laura, for having us. We're so excited to be here. Mary Ruth, she's our founder. She has an incredible story. So she started Mary Ruth Organics about 10 years ago, so in 2014, and she literally only started with 90 bottles. It was our OG liquid morning multi in raspberry. So we still sell this today, is one of our best sellers. And she had this in New York, and so she bootstrapped the whole business from the ground up. And, today we're really proud to say it's the number one best-selling liquid multivitamin in America, of course, along with a full line of supplements for every life stage. We're just really grateful to have her as a founder. She's very passionate about the brand. We try to instill that in all of our messaging. That we'll talk a little bit about that later on. But her passion for wellness comes from her own life experiences. If you go to our website, we have whole landing page about her story and like where she comes from and how she got inspired with this particular brand, but the full supplement line. We have this slogan internally and externally that we use that's called move forward every day. Like I said, we'll talk a little bit more about that, but as a team, we're always looking to be inspired by her brand story, by her herself as a founder, and in our messaging, and everything that we do. So Mon, anything else to add?
I would just add that as a brand, we're very proud to be B Corp certified. It's a pretty rigorous certification process. It holds brands and businesses to the highest social and environmental standards. We know it's something that's very meaningful and something that Mary Ruth herself is very proud of. It not only means that we have the highest quality in terms of our products, but just in terms as a team, as a business, as a brand overall, the positive impact that, we set out to make each and every day. So that, in terms of being B Corp certified and everything that Kat just mentioned too, is very important for us to strategically storytell our brand throughout our various marketing touch points, which I know we're both very excited about to chat today.
Yeah, I think you weave the story of MaryRuth's very seamlessly throughout your brand. Oh my God, look what I have here. My very favorite. Not a prop. I use it every day. And I think it's really important to talk about founder presence, especially in regards to SMS. You've mentioned that her presence is really important. Her voice is very important to the brand. So can you, Monica, kind of talk to us a little bit about, why SMS is such an important channel for a brand like MaryRuth's?
Yeah, I mean, we're of course biased, right? But we love SMS. It's a huge lever for us. Honestly, the way that we see it too, and we talk about it all the time internally, is that SMS really is the place where our closest and most engaged customers are. And if we take a step back, SMS is more of an intimate space than your email inboxes. We know that typically, on average, a customer is only subscribed to SMS to 3 to 5 of course, their favorite brands. And again, too, it's in the sense of being a more intimate space. We know that every time we send out a message, we are quite literally sitting next to a text from your mom, a text from your husband, a text from your best friend. So each and every message that we send out needs to have an inherent value. It can't just, be a send for no reason. That we want to make sure that we're pushing someone along in their journey. So a lot of it goes into play, which again, we'll chat more about, but it has to be intentional. There has to be value there. Yeah, Kat, anything to add to that?
Yeah, no, I was going to say that's perfect. I think, like you said, Mary Ruth herself, she has a wellness background too, and everything. She's very educated in nutrition, all the products she has derived for her family herself. So I think being able to put her into the brand voice in our SMS messaging, like Monica said, it's a very intimate space. So we want to make sure that while we're connecting with our customers, we're making sure we bring her in. We do these fireside chats every single month. So we send out an email and SMS. It's around 2,000 people that she connects with personally. She asks questions. She talks about, what motivates her. And so I think a big thing that we've incorporated is like these voice recordings. So it's almost like you're getting a voice memo from Mary Ruth herself. And I think it just adds that extra layer of connection and authenticity that you don't really get on other channels.
Exactly. Yeah. It's not just about sending the promotions. We love SMS for the flash deals, last chance, hours left of a sale, but we really view it as, again, that intimate space to really deepen the brand's relationship to our customers.
Okay. And we're going to try and play. So to your point, you will send out actual recordings from Mary Ruth herself. So we're going to try and play one of those now for everyone. Let's see if we can get it to work.
Hi, everyone. I'm Mary Ruth, and I wanted to take a moment on behalf of myself and the entire MaryRuth's team to welcome you to our vitamins, which include vitamins for all life stages, ages 1 to 100. We hope you will find what you need for your morning routine, your nighttime routine. We especially love our liquid vitamins. I personally take liquid morning and nighttime liquid multi-mineral. Enjoy.
That is so impactful to get. Also, I don't know about you guys, but I only talk to my friends with like audio text now. So it is like, it does feel so familiar and so much like something you would send a friend. And so I want to talk a little bit about, I think, retention to start. Because I think even as you grow a list, which we'll definitely talk about acquisition, but getting customers to return again and again can be a challenge. And this is something I think MaryRuth's does really well. So 2 things that we've talked about before, just in our conversations together, has been cash back and also your loyalty program as some of your biggest retention plays that you use over SMS. So I'd love if you could speak to that a little bit.
Yeah. You mentioned cashback. Cashback has been a game changer for us. We use it through Postscript in partnership with Fondue, and we definitely recommend it to other brands. It's allowed us to move away from the more traditional 15, 20, 25% welcome offer and have 25% cashback when you subscribe to both email and SMS. And, inherently that has allowed us to actually lower our discount rate on Shopify, which is always a plus. Another reason why we love it is it, inherently of the cashback model, it almost guarantees a second purchase, which is great. You have the incentive to purchase and get that cashback on your first offer, but then, that plus the cashback comes in when you come back to shop again, which from a retention standpoint, we love that. And then lastly, I would say too, is that it already kind of weeds out the people that are really just looking for, a deal, the one-time discount, and then will unsubscribe right after they use that first-time welcome offer discount code. The cashback offer we've found to be really successful for us. And, it kind of makes sure that we're capturing people right off the bat that are already interested in investing in our brand, which has been really important to us. But Kat, anything to add on cashback?
No, I mean, I think that's so perfect. I know, Mon, when we first heard about cashback, I think everyone thinks of the traditional, like, oh, 15% off, offer them free shipping. And so we were honestly very skeptical, just because we didn't know, like, how will our consumer base react to this? But surprisingly, and it made sense after, like, people actually weren't as price sensitive towards
Mhm.
purchasing our products. They actually, I think, when we've done our tests and post-purchase surveys, we've realized a lot of our customer base comes from referrals, like from a friend or a family taking the supplement. So I think the mentality of somebody coming to our website, they already understood like what products they were looking for. Maybe they had heard of our brand and they've heard good things. And so don't think the deal, like to Monica's point, that wasn't necessarily what was hindering them from making the purchase. So we showed that right when we did the testing too, that not only were people actually opting in, because you can get the option to have the Visa gift card, people actually were opting in to have our actual MaryRuth's gift card, which is really great to see, and a huge success for that. So like you said, Monica, I definitely would recommend anyone who's watching to include cash back into their strategy. But speaking of loyalty programs, this was actually something that Monica and I were really excited about because we actually just revamped it this past summer. We kind of restructured the program because, as you know, with every customer, there's so many places now. As Mary Ruth has grown over the past 10 years, you can see us, I think, Laura, you mentioned in Target and Whole Foods, we're on TikTok, Amazon. So there's so many places that our customer can find us. And so a big thing that when Monica and I were at the drawing board and thinking of like our loyalty and retention was just like, what are the offers? How do we want to structure our loyalty program? And so we used to have 3 tiers. We moved to 4 tiers. We offer different incentives. And one of the biggest things that we included was our upload a receipt feature. And we know, like I said, a lot of customers are finding us in other areas, and we want to make sure that they have the option to go wherever they feel that they want to shop us, whether that's in store in a different marketplace. And so by now including this upload a receipt, we've been able to allow people to be in our ecosystem still, so they get to be rewarded for shopping somewhere else. And then hopefully, the intention is that they'll come back to our store and, redeem those points for either free product or discounted product. And it's been really successful. We've had over, hundreds of receipts uploaded since we launched in this past summer. And it's, I think, a really big retention win in general because, when you are shopping on Amazon or TikTok, for example, you're not getting necessarily any of that information. So when someone's uploading the receipt, we can see where they've shopped. We can get some of that information. And then hopefully, like I said, the goal is for them to come and shop on Shopify. And then so we're giving them also just a reason to stay connected, be excited about our rewards, and then ultimately, they can still continue to shop in store or online.
Great. And I know we have a lot of questions popping up. I want to let everyone know we are definitely going to get to Q&A at the end. And if you have any specific questions about anything, I forgot to mention this at the top. We do have a Q&A tab. So we'll try and also address anything that's in chat. But if you have any questions for Monica or Kat for the end, pop over to the Q&A tab, drop them in there. We will try and get to as many as we can towards the end. Okay. So moving on, let's talk about acquisition, another huge area that, so many people watching this are focused on, and also such a great time of the year to double down on list growth because we're getting into bigger sales seasons. Memorial Day will be coming up, Labor Day, of course, Black Friday, Cyber Monday. This is really a great time to focus on list growth. So what are the most important strategies for Mary Ruth's when it comes to growing your list?
Yeah, so I think, like you said, Laura, like there's always something that we're looking to continue to grow our list. I think as far as just like BFCM, that's our go time. January, it's like our go time, but we're always working year round to not only grow our list, but also keep our list engaged. And so I think when Mon and I kind of chatted, just like our core strategy and retention in general, I think there'd be like 3 specific pillars. So I think starting off, number 1 would be just like a value-driven acquisition. So we don't want to just capture people's emails and phone numbers. And like Monica said, we don't just want you to like get a discount. We want to make sure that the offers are resonating. And so like I mentioned before with cashback, it was something that we were hesitant, but we wanted to try it out anyways because we always want to test and figure out what is resonating with their customer best. And so, offering this through offering our customers exclusive discounts, the early access, or even some health-focused educational content to make sure that we're encouraging them to sign up. We're always testing different landing pages and copies. So also we can just figure out what helped convert people best. Then number two, just optimizing our on-site and off-site capture. So, making sure our website features like, the strategic pop-ups, exit intents, embedded forms. We have on our social medias like link trees to make sure people are signing up and getting those offers. Whenever we do influencer collaborations, we want to make sure wherever someone's coming from, we're meeting the customer where they're at and making sure that wherever they do see us, that capture site is optimized. And then, number three, like I mentioned before, just like not only is growing the list, but making sure that our list is engaged. So it's not just about volume, but that engagement. And because we are a vitamin brand, we have a little bit of a shorter window. We can't necessarily wait 60 days, 90 days. We want to make sure that they are coming back. This is a product that you want to take daily, and you want to make sure that you're coming back every month to see those benefits. So with this tighter window, we want to make sure that our list is growing, but it's still continuously being engaged. And so how we do that is just nurturing our new subscribers with our personalized welcome flows, giving them exclusive content. I know Monica touched on this earlier too, but just like keeping them in mind as like this VIP group. We want to make sure that we are driving conversions, but also making sure that they feel a brand loyalty to us. So ultimately, we want to attract these subscribers who don't just want to join for the quick discount, but also provide value in their new wellness journey, if it is new or they're just new to MaryRuth's.
Yeah, I mean, I think that resonates with a lot of people listening to this when they're thinking about their own retention strategies, and a lot of those things I think could work for any brand watching this right now. And I think to kind of continue that conversation, obviously with list growth, growing email and SMS are both still very valuable. But I'm curious if you could talk to Monica, maybe each channel's strengths and how they should operate independently, and how you think about messaging on those channels when you're really thinking about a lot of the, the sales, the more VIP treatments, how you decide what lives in either place, or what doesn't. And if you could shine a little more light on that, that'd be great.
Yeah, and we could talk about that all day, right? Which we love. Email and SMS, they definitely work in tandem with each other, and they definitely have each of their own strengths, right? We do have a very robust email program as well. We send out, Kat and I joke, at least one email campaign is going out a day. But we have to make sure that those are all working, like I said, in tandem with SMS. As you touched on, Laura, yes, they each have their own strengths, and when you use them intentionally, they definitely can blend together in a really powerful way to enhance the customer journey. And that's the challenge we tackle every day, right? So email, we really see as great for storytelling and deeper engagement. You can have a lot more copy, of course. You can implement the voice notes that we saw in SMS. But in the same way, pulling from MaryRuth's founder story, pulling from, things like our B Corp certification, our Clean Label project certifications, there are a lot of things that go into that require a little bit more detail in telling the story and showing why it's valuable and showing why all of these things really do play a heavy hand in terms of, I would just say, elevating and enriching your overall wellness journey too. So email, we love for that. Of course, when segmentation comes into play too, you can do very strategic things with email, as we know, and we can touch on segmentation even more so later too. For SMS, of course, we chatted about, they are the quicker hits, a little bit more immediate. Emails can sit in people's inboxes for days. So when you need a more immediate quick action, of course, SMS is what you should be leaning on. However, with that too, like if we're in the middle of a huge promotion and we're pushing on both email and SMS, we want to make sure that, yes, our segmentations are playing really well with each other, but also exclusions. So if we're sending out both email and SMS for the same promotion, whether it be an educational play or a promotion, someone acts on the email, we want to make sure that they're then excluded from the comparable SMS send, right? The other thing too that we've been playing a little bit more with more recently is actually finding what people prefer. So finding where they're more active, whether it be on email, they're showing more click engagement, more purchasing behavior based off of email versus SMS, and then making sure that we're prioritizing sends to those people based on the channel that they're showing more interest in. That's been proven to be really successful for us. There's a lot more we can dive into more there as well, a lot of opportunity there. So yeah, I think, they can both be beasts of channels, and as you touched on too, yeah, they both have their benefits. And when you play to both of them in a comparable way, they really are a powerful channel as one.
Yeah, and since it sounds like for you, and I think for so many, obviously, SMS is kind of the more personalized channel,
Mhm.
in terms of conversation, especially. Can you talk a little bit more about, maybe an example of a campaign you might run on SMS that really does not make sense for email quite as much?
Yeah, so I can take this one. I think, Monica, just echoing everything you just said. I know, Laura, when we showed the voice text from Mary Ruth, I think it just shows like a very intentional message that doesn't, I think, make sense on email because you can't really have that capability of being able to hear her voice through an email. And so through text, it just becomes a lot more personal. And it also is exciting for us because it being a founder-led brand already gives us that huge UVP. There's a lot of other vitamin brands out there, but we're able to lean into her and having her founder story and putting that at the forefront. So using the voice text has been a very intentional thing that we specifically have for SMS. Of course, there's other campaigns like Monica kind of touched on in like the more traditional ways with like early access. We do overstock email, SMS all the time, where not only is it for the urgency, but it's a lot quicker. When you're looking to just like, hey, we need to move this product, we need to sell, 100 of these units, like to come to get the team together to do an email, it is a lot quicker to just get it done through an SMS. And it also makes them feel a lot more special because like, I think the theme is like, there's VIP group within SMS, and we really want to make sure we nurture them and they feel like they're exclusive. And that's kind of the reason why they gave us their phone number, and we don't take that for granted. And so, yeah, I would say like not just with the voice messages, because I know there was one that we did specifically that I know Mon and I really loved for Thanksgiving that had nothing to do with promotions. It was literally Mary Ruth talking about, Thanksgiving, a Thanksgiving message, what she believes in. And it just felt very authentic to who she is. And like, the fireside chats, like I said, we have millions of customers, and like she does these every month, but only 2,000 people can join and get to have that personal relationship with her. So this was just another way to really put her in the forefront of not just SMS, but everything we do. And so it was really cool that we're able to use SMS as that vehicle for that.
Yeah, it's great. And I know as someone that is definitely a Mary Ruth's fan, I love getting a text from her.
Yeah.
It stands out, and I subscribe to a lot of texts, as you can imagine, and the Mary Ruth ones really do stand out. So I think I'd love to switch gears a little and talk about revenue, because I know everyone wants to make more money on SMS. At Postscript, we know it's the number one revenue channel for a lot of brands now that are focusing there and doing it really well. So since a lot of people, subscribe to reorder from you, there's definitely a lot of opportunities, obviously, for Mary Ruth's to drive product recs and reorder reminders via SMS. But what else there is proving to be valuable for driving revenue on the channel?
Yeah, Laura, like you mentioned, I think those personalized flows with like just customer behavior. So knowing that there's like a reorder coming, that's been very, very successful for us. Subscriptions do make up about half of our business. So we want to make sure that, subscribers are very intentional with like when a subscription's coming, if they can add something to their subscription. And so we want to, keep focusing on ways, not just on subscribers, like I said, but also first-time customers, repeat customers that maybe don't have a subscription, trying to upsell them in, tasteful ways. There's a lot of different things that, working with our Postscript team, which has been great, being able to really take some campaigns that we've done in the past that we know have done well. So like, for example, we have different life stages. So if you have a toddler, you're a woman 40 plus, we have specific products for you that could work really well, versus a focus group too. As we go into back to school, if parents want immunity as like a focus, there's different seasonality too that we can really tap into that helps with the revenue. What are people talking about? Especially like we see trends on TikTok with like beauty and like, these new hair copy that's going out there and like it's getting a lot of buzz. Like, how do we incorporate that into our retention? And like, we're always thinking of ways, with our tone of just making sure that we are being positive, but also highlighting things that people maybe didn't realize that they were looking for. And so like that comes with, like we were saying, life stages, focus groups. And so making sure that we are tailoring messages based off their past purchase history, and having these different flows. And so that's what's really helped us because, yeah, we do send out a lot of campaigns and try to be intentional, but there's a ton of flows and a ton of work that happens in the back end to really make sure that as soon as the person gets that welcome flow, they go through, they have a whole journey that they are very tailored based on like the products that they've purchased. If you don't have kids, and a kid's, text might not make sense for you. So we really want to make sure that we're always tapping into, because we, of course, like we mentioned before, we want to continue to grow our list. We don't want people to unsubscribe, especially if it's something where we never want to batch and blast. We always are segmenting as much as we can. And really, like I said, this is it's very great, the type of brand that we have, because it is supplements. You want to have these every single month, so people are always looking for ways to be educated, ways to add things to their routine, and so we're always looking for ways to have them engage and come back. And I think that's really been a vessel for us to really improve revenue in this channel, because there's so many different avenues that we can really tailor in. And I think Monica and I could talk on and on about just segmentation and just really diving in and making sure that like you set up those flows, you're coming back every 6 months, testing and tweaking the copy to really make sure that you're elevating and improving, in every aspect, especially as like you learn the customer. So yeah.
Your approach is so thoughtful, and even thinking about like seasonality, what's going on with the trends right now. I mean, you definitely know who I am, because I get a lot of immunity gummies and kids texts. So it's working. You're doing a good job. Let's talk about messaging. I have a feeling it's come up in chat already, but almost on every single one of these webinars, people want to know, well, how much do you send? How do you know if you're sending enough? How do you know if you're oversending? This comes up all the time. And I know that the answer is it varies and you test, but I'm curious if you could share kind of, your cadence for SMS, but maybe more specifically, like, how do you decide who gets what?
Yeah, and a huge topic, and we love talking about that. Honestly, I think segmentation is our favorite topic to talk about. Like Kat said, we never do a batch and blast send. On email and SMS, like we'll never send to just our full list. There always needs to be something in terms of level of engagement, some type of browsing, purchasing behaviors implemented. There's exclusions involved to make sure you didn't just purchase whatever we're talking about. There's lots that go into it, and it really layers on top of each other. Yeah, and it really depends on making sure everything we send goes back to having an intention and having a reason. We don't have anything internally in terms of like, oh, we need to hit 7 campaign sends a week. We don't work like that. We always look at seasonally what's going on, what do we want to push, what is relevant at the time, and then, like I said, like layering those things in terms of timing, in terms of browsing behavior, purchase history, all of that. But to take a step back too, we do really focus on, we call them engagement cohorts. And I think, to try to start to answer that question of how much should I be sending, that's a great place to start. Right now, we're kind of working with 3, very easy: low engaged, medium engaged, and high engaged. More engaged could be getting more 1 week. Lower engaged could be getting slightly different messaging. Medium engaged is kind of where we're trying to like deepen, like, find a little bit deeper where we can find those nuances. What does that really mean? Again, it goes back to those layers, finding the timing, finding what products are working, what they viewed, what they've purchased, how long it's been since they purchased. All of that comes into play. And there's a lot there for sure. I think what Kat touched on as well is, we're going to speak to a new customer very differently than a returning customer, because when you're a new customer, you can get a more personalized text of, are you interested in immunity? Are you interested in just overall health? Are you interested in hair growth? That is how we start the tagging process, right? So then we can pull from collections, from complementary products, refills, when, typically if you did purchase, then we can kind of time out if it was a 30-day supply, 60-day supply, etc. Hopefully then once you move away from first time customer, you become second, third. And if we notice that you're not actually subscribing to that product, that's when we would then try to get you from that like medium engaged to the high engaged, trying to then get you on a subscription plan. So there's a lot that goes into that for sure. And just one last thing I'll really say is to, again, try to help answer that question of how much should I be sending, is thinking about the timing of the industry you're in, the business that you are. For us, like Kat mentioned, being in the supplement space, we do work within pretty tighter timelines than I would say maybe other, or maybe even most other industries really do. That 30 to 60 day timeline is our sweet spot. Honestly, going past that, right? Because most of our products are within the 30, 60, 90 day supply. That 60 to 90 day is when we actually start to we're getting at risk of losing you if you're not coming back and replenishing supplement, that vitamin, whatever it is. So our re-engagement campaigns, our win-back campaigns, all of that has a little bit closer of a time frame. So I would definitely suggest starting within those cohorts and then just seeing what types of layers are most important to you so you can really start to build out really robust segments.
And you're reminding me, we have a really great strategy session video that I will send out to everyone after this in the recap email on how to build out these engagement tiers, because it's a really good idea and something that's really an easy lift to do inside PostScript as well. Okay, so I'd love if you guys could kind of just talk through, what does the subscriber lifecycle experience look like over SMS with MaryRuth's?
Yeah. And I think we kind of started to touch on it, like going from the new customer, the 1 to 2 times, and really tracking when and where you kind of become a subscriber, right? Because if you've purchased, especially if you purchased 5 times, why are you not a subscriber? We need to be messaging you in a way that's going to, get you on that subscription plan. And I think Kat kind of touched on it too, of we're really trying to automate most of the customer journey. We really view automations, those messaging flows, as kind of like the safety nets throughout your entire journey. If you purchase one time, maybe, you had every intention to repurchase it again, but you missed that and you've been out of the product for a week. How can we make sure that we hit you at that day 0 of the product's run out to then day 7 again? So we really try to catch you wherever you are. And I think too, in terms of any type of abandoned flow, browse abandoned, checkout abandoned, cart abandoned, breaking those out between, again, new customer, returning customer, first time subscriber customer, returning subscriber customer, all of that. You can imagine the umbrellas and the branches that you can really create within PostScript, which is amazing, but really trying to find every point where someone could fall through, right? And where can you put in a flow to kind of catch them to make sure that they continue on into the next step of the customer journey. So to kind of answer that question of the customer journey, our automations really do the biggest job in pushing someone along. And then the campaigns, of course, are more seasonal, more, what's going on, what's top of mind, what sales can we really push to help entice new customers, again, bring back someone to maybe resubscribe or anything like that. But I think within segmentation and within automations, for sure, is really the main driver for having a strong customer journey.
And such a really easy and such a smart thing to do is to personalize a lot of those automations, even slightly, like you mentioned, new customer versus returning that abandons a cart, and even by product, right? We've seen a lot of brands now do very specific abandoned carts, browse abandons per product. So
and start with your top 3 products and then see how they do, and then do the top 10 products. And
it's a great one. Okay, I love this. This is my favorite question to ask that we always try and get in on a webinar, which is favorite SMS campaign you've ever sent. And you send a lot of campaigns, so I'm kind of curious if you guys have a favorite that has gone out.
Yeah, I can start. I think I touched on it at the Thanksgiving voice text. I think Laura, we did the fantastic text, and that was the one that I spoke about. So if everyone who's watching, you can see that text specifically that I'm referring to. But yeah, we're really, really excited. This was our first test into voice voice recordings and involving them in our SMS messaging. And, just have to thank, PostScript and Para, our partnerships, to be able to be the first brands, I think, to implement this kind of strategy. And like I said before, this was our first attempt. It was a non-promo. I think it also was very interesting because we were in the midst of BFCM. So it's very much heavy promo. People are trying to capture that sale. People are inundating you. And I think back to, Monica, your question of just how often do you send? I think there's periods where it's okay to send twice a day. There's times where you want to make sure that you're hitting the customer because so many people are trying to reach out. But, we made a choice, just going based off our brand and our, brand voice, to do a non-promo. And it was a Thanksgiving voice recording from Mary Ruth. And I think it just cut through the noise from all the BFCM, craziness. And it was almost like you were getting this sweet message from your friend, wishing you a great Thanksgiving. And I think it just not only speaks to who Mary Ruth is as a person and like what we want to do within CRM and, retention. And like, it just, I think really was super exciting to just see the positive, replies that we got from, customer care, just touching base. Cause of course, like I said, this was our first time ever testing this out. So, in our head, we're like, this sounds like a great idea, but you always want to check in and make sure that it actually resonated with the customer. And yeah, we got really, really good feedback and it was really great. And Mary Ruth herself, she really enjoys doing these. Like you said, Laura, like I love sending voice recordings. I think it's like a quick little touch point. And so yeah, I think this was like really one of my favorites. It was like the first one. It was super exciting. We got a really good positive feedback. And like, this was kind of like the stepping stone into the rest of our SMS strategy. And we want to be intentional with incorporating Mary Ruth, like we said, into a lot of our messages. And this was one of the ways that we did it within BFCM. And so I think it was really successful.
Such a great one.
Yeah. I also have to do a voice note text for my favorite.
We have a theme going.
Yes, no, for sure. It's a little bit of a different one. It didn't feature a promo and, we kind of classified it as a product feature as well, because the recording is actually Mary Ruth speaking about one of our products in particular, a liquid probiotic. The reason why, though, I have to call it out as my favorite is because since we've implemented the voice text, and again, in working with Para, which has been amazing, is just really protecting the integrity of voice notes. We've said a few times now that it is something you send to your mom, you send to your close friend. It's, again, just celebrating the intimate space that SMS is. And so we really want to be mindful of where we place these voice notes. We've kind of set a rule for ourselves of once someone receives a voice message, they should never receive that voice message again, because we kind of want to take away that idea of it's an automated thing. We want it to feel special. And again, just protecting the authenticity of a voice recording over text. So having said that too, like, we're being very mindful of making sure that we're not implementing it in any like browse abandon text that you would get like on a rolling 30-day basis. Every time you're browsing our site, we want to be, like I said, just very mindful of our placements here. So having said all of that, I think this campaign celebrates that and does this really well. We were in the midst of featuring our gut health collection, just in the spirit of the new year. We had a fun buy two, get one promo going on. And we had Mary Ruth just speak on, like I said, our liquid probiotic. It's something that she takes daily, her family takes daily. And so again, just emphasizing the authenticity, making sure it's genuine, and she's really speaking from the heart. And I think that's why these do so well, because we're really protecting the safe space that a voice note is and should be. And when you're hearing directly from Mary Ruth, it's something that she really wholeheartedly believes in. So, for being a promo text, for being a product feature text, this I think was done pretty well, which we were really excited about.
I think that's such a great segue into probably my last question, because I want to leave time for Q&A, but just kind of curious on what advice you might give to someone that's doing SMS, but maybe they haven't quite figured out either their voice, or maybe they do have a great founder story and they haven't like incorporated that as part of the strategy. That kind of stuff has worked so well for you. So do you have any, advice to anyone watching this that hasn't done that yet on what you might suggest they do to try and build a personality over text?
Yeah, no, I think that's such a great question, Laura. And Mon, I'd love to hear your thoughts too, as I know we talk about this all the time. I think that is the forefront of the Mary Ruth's brand, is her voice, and we never want to shy away from that. And so I think for any brand, especially who does have a founder, I would lean into it. I think it makes it unique. I think it gives you that inspiration, and it helps to just push that messaging throughout everything. It helps give you a foundation. And, I think sometimes as marketers, we're trying to market to everyone. And that's not super realistic. You have to hone in onto who your audience is. And like, if you are a founder, your audience is you. The audience is who you want it to be. And so I think really leaning into that, especially for Mary Ruth, like her brand voice, she's warm, supportive, she's educational, just like herself. And so, whenever we're thinking of our promo messaging or just messaging in general, we never want someone to feel, guilty or being pressured into buying anything. Of course, there are instances where like, hey, like last chance, but we try to keep it as warm and supportive and uplifting as possible. We never, like I said, want anyone to feel like any sort of FOMO. And so like, I think that was a little bit of a interesting curveball, especially for myself when I first started, because I had agency background. So I was used to like, hey, you want to get the sale, you want to push, you want, which of course, if that is your brand and that's what you're looking for, like I think Dr. Swash, they have a very specific brand too, and they lean into that. And Liquid Death has their own brand and they lean into that. And so with MaryRuth's, we really look at our brand. And I think when you look at these bigger brands, like they all have a voice, whether they have a founder or not, and they really lean into that and they make sure that their audience connects with that. So for us, like we mentioned before, like we have this brand mission of moving forward every day with MaryRuth. So we always want people to feel good. We want people with every interaction to feel like the best version of themselves. And like our copy in our SMS is always just like, how can we help support you in this new wellness journey with our MaryRuth's products? Of course, we always want to get that conversion, but it's always trying to keep it positive. And so, yeah, I think for any brand who is on the fence of like, hey, should I really tap into this? Or what if I ostracize a certain audience? But like, you're not going to cater to everyone. You're going to have to cater to the people who are going to be loyal and your VIPs. And like we said, for us, 50% of about half of our brand is subscribers and like subscriptions. And like, those are the people we want to cater. Of course, we want people to come and we want to grow our list, like we said, but we really want to hone in on the people who care for us. And those are your biggest advocates, like we've done post-purchase surveys and 25% I think of people that come back are all referrals from friends and family. And so it's really cool to kind of see this community that helps market for us. And we don't necessarily need to, be fake or have this different, brand voice. We really have always been warm. We've been supportive. We be uplifting and have that motto of just like moving forward every day, like I said. And so, yeah, but Mon, I know this like last question. I don't know if you had anything to add, but yeah, that's what I would say.
No, I mean, I think that's perfect. And to go off of what you said is don't overcomplicate it. Like our brand mission statement, like Kat said, is the move forward every day. And, we're inspired by that in all of our campaign copy. Like, just the concept of you taking your multivitamin, that's a few seconds it takes every day, every morning is going to compound over time to a larger effect of overall wellness. So it really informs like, our marketing sense, but then also internally when we're on like one-on-one meetings and team meetings and anything, the move forward every day concept really pushes through because we really are just constantly thinking of progress over perfection. Like it helps inform our day-to-day of a team sense of just, yeah, let's test it. Let's try it. Let's try this new copy here. Let's see how this does. If it doesn't work today, we can try something new tomorrow. We can literally move forward every day with it. And just over time, it's going to, we'll figure it out along the way and hopefully find another successful strategy, another successful campaign method, anything like that. But yeah, I think to echo everything Kat said, but then also to just come back to really what's true to you, what's true to the brand. And it can be something as simple as just the phrase move forward every day, because you really can find a lot of power in that.
This has been we've covered a lot in a small amount of time, and we have a lot of questions that have been coming in. I was just trying to get caught up on chat. So we are going to try and cover a few, try and get to them as much as possible. So if you want to toss one up for us. Okay. This one's from Nikki. Can you walk us through an example of an early access strategy with email and SMS in terms of segmentation and timing? Ooh, this is a really great one. And we did have a couple examples up. Maybe it wasn't as obvious, Nikki, but we did have a couple examples that were very specific to SMS where they did this. But I'd love if one of you can kind of answer this really good question.
Yeah, I can kick us off, Aman, of course, if there's anything to add. Yeah, I think the most recent, I think of two examples. So we're launching actually a new product. I think it's tomorrow, which is very exciting. But we have a whole early access we actually use for email and SMS, even our app as well. And so we sent out, to our subscribers and let them know like, hey, subscribe if you want to hear something. They texted a word to be added to the list. And so that was 24 hours. I think for every brand, you can kind of decide. I've seen people do it 2 hours before the launch. We did 24 hours just to give people, enough time. And then tomorrow we have a specific time frame to send out the actual email and SMS to launch that product. But I think when we think of like BFCM and, you know, Black Friday, there's a lot of thought that goes into just like, because, you know, I think BFCM, Cyber Monday, the exclusive access starts a lot sooner every year. I think it's like, oh, now it's early November, then it starts October. So we're always trying to think of like the entire month. How can we have strategic way? I think to the past question you asked, Laura, of like, what is too much? Like, how do you know that if you're not sending too much? So I think this is part of it when you're thinking of your whole campaign, like in a month. And I think for Monica and I, when we're thinking of CRM, we kind of chunk it up into a month, but then we look at every week and kind of being like, what is the theme that you want to send every week? And so this week was like, we know we have this exclusive launch to tier 1 product. This is the priority. When are we going to send the early access? When are we going to send it to the rest of the group? What is the segmentation for the early access? Is it people who only subscribe to the email, then the next day, like who we actually want this message to go out to? Is this like a bigger send? Is this a smaller send? How are we doing on revenue? That's kind of when we start looking like, do we need to push more? Do we need to push less? And so that's kind of when we start thinking of it. We try to break it into like different weeks too, to make it a little bit easier. And then with BFCM, same thing. It's like, it's a bigger chunk because you have a whole month, but then you're also kind of looking into like, okay, every week, what are you trying to accomplish? And like, who are you trying to message within that week? For us, of course, it's a little different. You know, like Monica mentioned, we have these 3 core groups of like low engaged, high engaged, medium engaged. And so we're kind of looking into where do we tap in and how soon do we need to tap in? We would say something like a tier 1, a new product launch. We want everyone to kind of see something like that. BFCM, we want everyone to kind of see something like that, versus if you're looking at like an educational, you might not send it to everyone. But Monica, would love to get your thoughts.
Yeah, no, I think something that comes into play, like with these campaigns, like BFCM is a great example, start at the end. So for, you know, if I'm working on an early access campaign, first of all, what is the promo? Is it the highest % off that we're going to be offering the whole time of BFCM? Because if it is, who do we want to prioritize getting that % off? That would then inform how we create the segment that we send to opt into early access. Is it maybe people who subscribed in the last 30 days because we, you know, they're hot, we want to entice them, we want to get them in and hopefully locked in to the brand? Someone who's purchased BFCM the year prior because they, you know, seasonally have showed that they're, you know, gonna have an intent to buy. And then we'll pull from that high engaged cohort, of course, to just keep, you know, the loyalty there of you're our best customers, we want to give you the best access, so on and so forth. So I think just starting at the end and then kind of informing of like, okay, yeah, who do we want to get this best offer? Who do we want to have it first? And it kind of informs the rest.
Good way to test those engagement tiers you mentioned before too.
Sure.
You want to give
and then tracking how they travel. Yeah, if you send it to your medium intent, then tracking how much then they move up to your high engaged cohort as well is really interesting too.
Awesome. Thank you, Nikki, for that question. Okay, we've got another one here. What automations drive the highest revenue? How long, how many message are in these flows for your brand? Ooh, that's a good question. Also, Carrie will be able to, I can't see the name. Carrie, this is also where Benchmarks Report might help as well. You can kind of look there at what traditionally automations drive the highest revenue and how to prioritize from there as well. But I'd love for one of you to take this question. This is a good one.
Yeah. I was going to say, I think we're both thinking the same. And I think for any brand, honestly, there's like the core flows you want to have, like your welcome, abandoned cart, your post-purchase. Like those are kind of, if you don't have those, I would get those live today. And so, yeah, I think our welcome, by hands down, it does the best, even in email as well. It just has the highest intent, right? Like people, they've came out, they found you, they want to, you know, hear from you. And so that has been really, really successful for us. But yeah, Monica, I feel like would be the same.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Well, hands down, welcome for sure. If we kind of go outside that core, I think abandon flows and then also like our replenishment flows, which again, for different brands could like be viewed as a re-engagement or upselling a similar product or something like that. Like I'm thinking of an apparel brand. For us, it's approaching that like 30-day supply mark. We know you're running low. So we're going to automatically hit you with a refill or, refill and then also upsell you on, this pairs really well with it, something like that. So for sure the core, you're welcome, you're abandoned, and then seeing just natural purchasing behavior, and then just, again, supporting automations to have touch points along that path.
Have you both tested different message lengths for like welcome series, for example? Have you tested like a 3 message one versus a 2 message one? I've seen it really across the board, Carrie, which is why I'm pitching it to them to answer. But yeah, have you done any testing around that?
Yeah, message length, and then also like the personalization. I think in the example slide, it's, reply back with a number. Since you know that your welcome flow is likely going to be your most successful, your highest revenue driver, that's a great point. Maybe like message 3 or message 2. It's, did you find what you're looking for? Yes or no? And then you can have a branch going off of that to kind of find out more information. You can personalize it then, or right off the bat, just, hey, you just subscribed. What collection are you interested in? Like kind of what we have, like immunity health, gut health, overall wellness, beauty, anything like that. Because again, too, that's going to be first step of your tagging process for more personalized messaging down the road.
Great. All right, another question. We'll try and get to some more. Okay, Rami, thank you. How is the transition from discounts to cashback across all your channels? Also, congrats on the huge success on TikTok. Yes, definitely.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I think from transitioning from discounts to cashback, honestly, kudos to Postscript team. It was very easy. Like, honestly, there was not really, we had a test period for 2 weeks and we cut it a little short because it was just, the numbers didn't lie. And we just were like, yeah, we have to do this. I will say though, we've tried it in other flows. Monica, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we tried to do it with abandoned cart flows. They just didn't resonate. I mean, it does make sense. These people, abandoned cart typically just want to get that offer because that's kind of why they abandon. But for win backs have done, also something that we've been trying to test out. But yeah, I would say that when we transitioned from discounts to cashback, honestly, we didn't really see, I mean, we do offer a good amount for cashback. So I think that also, you want to figure out like what percentage you want to offer based off like if the numbers make sense and, looking at profitability, what you can offer. But, we went from, what was it, Mon? I think 15%. Now it's been so long. I think it was 15% off on the website or 20%. And then we gave them 25% cash back. So it was a little bit of like an increase almost. So I think if you're curious, I would up the cash back a little bit, test it with your current discount and just run it for 2 weeks, see how it does, and then continue to test it. Because, just because it didn't work in one of our abandoned cards doesn't mean it might not resonate with your own audience. But yeah, Monica, pass again if there's anything to add too.
Yeah, no, definitely start with your welcome. And like Kat said, yeah, we tested it in a few other placements and it performed like just as well. It wasn't like, stand out. So we stayed with just the regular percentage off in some of our abandons, because I think just having it too in just the welcome almost like heightens the impact of it there as well. Mm-hmm. So definitely start with the welcome, test it, see how it is. You can test it in a few other placements and just see how it, affects things across the board as well.
Great. Okay. We're going to do one more question. I'm so sorry. I know there's so many questions. We will do our best for anyone that didn't get their question answered. We'll look at them all and try and get them all answered in the recaps that go out. So, okay. Are there any other brands out there that inspire your SMS strategy? I love this one.
This is a good one.
This is a good one. Oh my God. Okay, this is crazy because I think I speak for all marketers. Like anybody who sends me, like I just sign up. Like I feel like my emails and SMS, like I just have a ton of people that I subscribe to that give me inspo, and not just within the vitamin space. I'd say through any kind of space. I know. So like Ruggable was one that I subscribed to. Caraway is another one that I subscribe to. Bloom, there's like a ton of different brands out there that I just subscribe, and it's just to kind of see what are people doing out there to come, help inspire us. But yeah, I would say there's just like a ton. If you ever see a brand that's your favorite, I definitely am. I'm always like, oh, I need to subscribe to everybody. But yeah, Monica, if you had any specific ones.
Yeah, no, that's so true. Kat and I joke all the time that, that average number of brands that someone subscribes to is like 3 to 5. Like that's so not us when you work in this space. Like it's like 20 plus. You're just constantly getting inspo from. But I love this question because one brand, not in the supplement space, but if anyone is interested in, it's called Frank and Eileen. It's also B Corp certified, women owned, women founded, amazing brand, all organic, really awesome product, but it's in the apparel space. So for us, it's really interesting to see what they're doing well, what we love, and how we can kind of, complement it, but make it our own in the supplement space has been pretty fun. But there's so many, like Kat said, just subscribe to everything.
Just keep subscribing. Yeah. Just keep subscribing. And that's where you'll find the best info. Okay. This has been amazing. I can't believe we're just out of time already. That flew by. Kat and Monica, thank you so much for taking time out, for sharing just so much valuable information with our post group community. We appreciate it. Also, shout out to Kate and Steph, who work at Postscript with MaryRuth's. The four of you are like such a power team. It's always great to see what you produce. And we do have a lucky winner of a $100 MaryRuth's gift card, which I think someone is going to tag in chat. So one of our lucky attendees is also getting a $100 MaryRuth's gift card. So I highly recommend the Lipsomal. Is that it? They're all good.
Yeah.
And then we have a couple more live events coming up. Not our events, but tomorrow we're actually at, if we can find the slide to throw back up, we are actually at an event tomorrow with Vermont. We've got a bunch of presenters there from Postscript, or maybe we've got our CMO Mike, our CCO Mike from Postscript that'll be there. That's tomorrow. We also have a couple coming up in March. We've got a webinar with Triple Whale, a webinar with ShipBob. So we'll also send out some RSVPs in the recap email. So this is going to be a very beefy recap email. We have lots to share with all of you. So keep an eye out for your inbox. We'll send you everything that we didn't get to and all the resources mentioned in the webinar today. And thank you all for joining us. We'll see you at the next one.
Awesome. Thank you guys.
Thank you so much.
Bye.